Okay, so welcome everybody. Today we will be listening to the presentation of Paolo Caramellano. I hope that I hope that I pronounced it the right way. And he is the CEO and co-founder of Exfidant and has a long-standing experience in market data, both as a user and a vendor. And he started his career as a quantitative analyst of foreign markets and worked for Thomson Reuters for over 15 years. And today he will be presenting the topic Market Data Hub, a unique platform to easily source, store and manage capital market regulation data. So please enjoy.
Thanks a lot. I think it works now. Yes, that's fine. Hello, everybody. Thanks to be here and in this room to hear what I will. I promise I will not bore you for 20 minutes. I'll try to make something more interesting for you. This is the topic of today, but let me tell a story why we are here. As she told you, I was working in this market for a long time. When it went out for Reuters, I promised not to touch more data because I doesn't want to go more looking at this topic. Then, unfortunately, I met a friend of mine that was a CEO of a company, of a bank in Italy, and she told me, I have a big problem. I have a port that is the cost of market data that is growing every day. I cannot stop it. Can you help me? I say, yeah, I don't know if I'm able to do it, but I can try to do it. So I started an experience in market data as a market data manager, as probably more of you are, and I built a team. And every time I was looking at opportunity to change the portfolio or the mix of content the bank is using, I was in front of a list of stopping problems like, okay, then if you want to change from, like an example, vendor A to vendor B, we need to put a group of people, IT people, consultant, etc. And does it mean that you will pay, like an example, X amount of euros for the project? And if your aim is to save Y amount of euros, most of the cases, the two amounts were exactly the same. Or sometimes there were not such a big difference, so the delta was not enough to justify a project. But in reality, you would like to get data not only for the cost of it, but sometimes for the quality of it as well. And the point was, okay, you have to spend time for looking at those people, to follow the project, etc. And say, at the end, you were saying, why I cannot do it via a signature in a contract and agree for a different cost with my vendor at the moment. So, what happened? We and my colleagues in Exfidant times ago had this following dream, is that, is it any chance to put in place a platform that allow market data people effectively to transform dreams in reality? So, do it what exactly they want, very fast with no problems in terms of complexity to manage, etc., and specifically with zero or near zero IT involvement. And as a man, probably an old man, a generation where there were people that were talking about plug and play, there was Microsoft coming in, oh, we can do it plug and play, you say. We can do it easy for the client side as well, in a plug and play mode. This was our bet, and this is what comes out MDH. So just to give you a brief overview of where we come from. This is MDH's Market Data Hub, means that it's something that is help you around all these steps of the cycle. So analyze your data, understand what you can do if you change the situation in terms of cost as well, so simulating. And then the main part is optimizing your activity in terms of cost gathering, for gathering data, distribute the data, to all the application and then user that need to use it, and then obviously then run some evaluation of this kind of data. The evaluation in terms of quality, evaluation in terms of putting together different sources, etc., and also they will do price validation exercise. So just to give you a bit of an overview of what is it, our Market Data Hub. But the topic of today is Market Data Hub versus regulation. So why we are introducing this topic? Probably all of you are comfortable with some acronyms that comes in the last 5 years in the capital market. Then obviously there is influences also on other regulations like Basel III and IV, but all of them have one common theme. And if you ask, probably you have already the answer. The answer is they all need market data. So you cannot afford do the regularity exercise if you don't have the market data you need. Not necessarily the market data comes from vendor. It can come from the owners. It can come from we could say public sources like NADSB, like GLAIF, or other like ESMA, FCA, etc. But you need effectively to get this data in, collect the data, and then we can say play easily with this data, so that everyone that needs this kind of data can effectively use the data in your organization. So this was our question mark in 2018 when we started entering in this market for regulation, when obviously MiFID II, MiFIR comes in. In our side, we have a lot of so market database already equipped with a lot of connectors to get the data in from whatever is the source of our client would like to. So we have the vendor, we have, you see, the public sources here. And whatever is it, a new vendor that at the moment we have never connected because our client have never requested to do it, we can do it in 4 weeks. But what does it mean, having connectors? It means that the client do his own job. The job is not taking care about how complex is to dialogue with, I don't know, we don't have it like in simple WM datum. So how complex is dialogue with WM datum? How complex is dialoguing with SIX, Bloomberg, or the others? This is not your job. You do it another job in your organization. You need to use the data because of this, the objective you would like to get into. And instead, this is our job. Make your life simple. So forget about how complex is this. It is already done. It's available in the platform. So you don't need to do anything. Specifically for the, we can say, official public sources that currently, like NADSB, is becoming heavily used by our client because of the EMIR refit changes that comes in production 2 weeks ago, but also for the implication of using NADSB data later on, in the previous year, sorry. So this is what we have it. And what was our idea is that if you have this kind of connection, obviously it depends what is the vendor, the client contracts. We don't provide data. We're not a vendor. We provide a way to get the data in a simple way in your organization and then to distribute. So the point is that to satisfy your obligation, there are applications that need to use this kind of data. So you need to make it simple life to this application to get the data into its own their own area. And you can do it by web service. We can do it by SFTP. You can do it as a standard using, you say, vendor language, or otherwise it's totally free CSV files or TXT files if you don't have, the application don't have the knowledge how to dialogue with a vendor. Or you can use API that we provide. But the main point is that it's not a problem of the application to think about how to do things. We act as a chameleon. So we say, what do you need? You need this kind of things, you need this kind of data. Okay, that's right. This is the easiest way for you to get the data in, and we provide it to you in, we cannot say in 1 day, but it could be in 2 days or a week as a maximum. Imagine the MDH is not a managed services. It's something that is effectively delivered for each client in an ISO in the web. So it's an extension of your IT world. But it's something like your data lake. You have the data available, looking at obviously the contract that you have with the vendors, and whatever is it freely available as a source. But, okay, this is easy way. This is what we've done before. That when you play with MiFID II, MiFIR regulation, one of the main points is that I'm a sell side, have to satisfy pre-trade regulation communication to the market. And I have a very limited time to check if what I'm closing in terms of trade with my client is to be reported or not. So also if it's over the counter. And in this case, you need to find immediately, if you don't have the ISIN, obviously, putting the elements of your trade, how you can get, if there is effectively provided by ASMA, in this case an FCA, an equivalent of your instrument that is traded. So in this case, obviously, you are obliged to use this ISIN and to communicate to the market. I'm doing it out of the standard channels. It could be the market for derived, obviously, it could be Eurex, could be others, etc. For EMIR, unfortunately, now you are forced as well, if there is no ISIN available, to have a UPIs. And the UPI is only provided by HANA DSP. HANA DSP database is 120 millions of records at the moment. And either you get connected directly to the HANA DSP, or either you ask your trade repository to enrich your messaging, either you do by you do yourself. What we provide to our clients is the possibility to check in HANA DSP, first an ISIN and then a UPI, what is happening. And then, obviously, if nothing is in, you have to ask HANA DSP, please create me this UPI because I need for transaction reporting. There was a slogan in the market 5 years ago, no lay, no deal, no LEI, no deal. Yes, it's easy to tell to the counterparty, but effectively, the problem is that LEIs is updated 3 times during the day, and your client can effectively, sign for a new LEI or either apply for a new year of contract with its own LOU during the day, and it could claim you, why are not helping me, to close this kind of deal? I have the LEI, but if you look at the data that comes out from vendors, typically are yesterday based. It's really important that you take the data as fresh as they are, and this is the reason why we connect and we offer updating every time that the foundation is offering this kind of data to the market. But in this kind of thing, all these kind of things are done directly by MDH in an easy way, so that your application, in this case we are talking about application at the moment, can effectively make use of it. So without getting crazy how to implement and connect on one side to the foundation for LEI or to NADSB on the other side, or either to other different sources of information, or to the vendor itself, because obviously you can have access to this kind of data. You think of SFTR will require you 6 fields that need to be in reality populated with data coming from rating agency, reference data, and other things like this. And either you do it yourself, or also in this case, you ask your counterparty to do on your behalf, or it's just an easy way for our client to do it via MDH. But as well, there are applications at the client side that are not used to dialogue in web services. That's right. Okay. There are old legacy application. They would like, please give me whatever is it, the full set of data in a way that I can really manage. Then it's up to me to get this kind of information working for the purposes of this application. So in this case, we are obviously talking about something that needs to be customized for each of our clients, because all our clients need to have a specific need. In this case, we cannot do something that is, have like a product that is available for all the client of this specific application, because then we know that there is a version of the application that are running at each of our clients. And one of the main requests is that please provide me the list of all items that satisfy TOTV rules. It's not, an easy game to do these kind of things, because a different update time from your sources, but as well, the file that you create could have millions of rows. So then you have to exchange this kind of data in the right way with your counterparty. As well, qualified investment firm, I don't know if you heard about it. You have different obligations, depends on which are the counterparty you have. So if it's a qualified investment firm or not. And what comes out is that this kind of data is not should be provided by the regulators like FCA and ESMA. In reality, they do this kind of job partially. Then you have to add a piece of information coming from Glaze. You have to check if the data they provide is right or not, and so on and so on. So we'll provide to our clients a qualified investment list firm every day to be managed by their data. But one of the main point that comes out during the last 3 years is that, okay, if you are in the game, you do regulated. You're in the regulation area. You are obliged to do reporting using, in this case, API, APA, or ARM, or trade repository, depends on the regulation. It could be that some watchdog comes to you and say, sorry, from my point of view, you have missed to give me a piece of messages, or you totally forget this kind of instruments in your reporting. What you can do? You have 2 options: pay the fees, or try to provide what was missing. But the main point is that if you look at the data available, in this case from those sources, specifically ESMA and FCA, you have no possibility to go back in the past, because they provide you all the data that is available today, not what was 3 months ago or 1 year ago or what else. The same is NADSB, because it works as a delta producer. So all is it in the system today is valid today. What was 3 years ago, you cannot know. So we was forced to create the historical daily information for all these kind of different type of source and subset of data for our client, and to obviously help our client to generate backwarded what was the supposed message versus the regulation for specific deals that was missing or considered wrong by the regulators. I can give you an example. We managed, it was 50,000 deals that was not really transmit in terms of reporting obligation to the regulators for our client in a range of 3 years. We put in place, so we allow them to use the solution for the specific module, and they've done it in 6 days. So it was very easy because they got a very strong deadline when they have to produce. Obviously, our part was the last of the effort because they were to check internally why something was missing, et cetera, et cetera. So they've got a lot of activity before, but obviously it was very close to the end of the game and say, oh, now I need to find out if I have to do the reporting or not, like an example, and which kind of data I have to use for the reporting. And this is what we deliver to them in a very limited time frame. But for sure, you know that you have application, but in most of the cases are the end user that need to use the data. And in this case, what we have done, we thought that the best way to support our client was to, they are paying the data using from the vendors or for the public source. Obviously, they're getting the data. But there was not an easy way to surf within the full set of data that you have already downloaded and you are contractually allowed to distribute within your organization. So we put in place a solution that is called MDH Explorer that makes you see, the reason is that get a look at the data you have directly. And let's use this kind of data also to people that doesn't have terminals, doesn't have access to the primary source of information that your vendor offers. So it is totally neutral. And forget about that this is a Bloomberg calendar because it's one of the requests of our client to surf within the Bloomberg calendar as well. But imagine that you have a web page that you enter in the instrument you would like to find, or okay, you can enter with some criteria as well. And then you get immediately all the information that you as an organization have qualified, you will be interested to get a look at. And obviously you can get a look at, we have the 32 asset classes targeted within the Explorer, so you can really surf within the full set of data from USA to the Asia. Obviously, looking at the European as well. But as well, the end user sometimes need to do the same kind of activity your application is doing. So they would like to check at LEI. And in this case, they have a lot of opportunity to do these kind of things via the web application. They would like to use or to check the data calculated and to modify as well the content before being provided back to the application. They can get a look at, I say standard TOTV information. So check if I put and as in if it's effectively today is okay for being PPTT or trading repository. They can surf using different conditions. So using CFI code, operation type, that means looking at specifically the application. That's the operation type you are looking at. And putting some criteria, obviously can get the full word immediately in your hand. And thinking about it, in this case, you're talking about managing more or less that are what they are, we can say live, coming from ESMA and FCA and NRDSB is it around, as my FCA is around 19 million of records, while for AnaDSB you have 43 millions of records. But you can do it in very easily without getting crazy. And also we have seen that at the moment AnaDSB itself is not offering with its own graphic user interface this kind of capability. You can do it more a higher level of research, then you have to surf within the data and go. But as well, if you talk about an end user, say, I can do it by Excel. Yeah, Excel is the easiest way to get the data, but it's the most problematic way to do it because user doesn't think about that Excel was not thought to interact with a lot of external application. So you need to do carefully. Just an idea. You can extract data from different vendors you have. This is for Bloomberg, but we have Formula as well for Refinitiv, for all the other that we manage. This is because, in this case, each of the vendor has different rules to qualify and to state, and different, you can say, labels for the fields. So also if we have a normalization in the platform, where for the single user, and user that is used to download data from Bloomberg, like an example, on the terminal, it was more easy for him to do the same things using the same label of Bloomberg for the specific field. And similar formula, because you can think about that BDP is MDHDP, BDH is MDHDH, etc., etc. And then obviously all the others means something different. Get a look at the cache and take it at your cost. So our effort was try to put all this kind of information together in a way that you can use very easily. You don't have to waste a lot of time. And in other, you and your application, your end user, was looking at different areas as well. Sometimes you would like to have the data, so the end user would like to have the data, but those data require complex elaboration. They sometimes need to look at a waterfall of activities in order to get the data they want. Overthought that please use a simple CSV interaction or an Excel interaction, but don't imagine that you have the Excel and you download the data. Upload your Excel file in this box. Obviously, each of these boxes have different rules to manage the data according to what the client would like to, and you can download it, this kind of data, at the end of the elaboration. Elaboration, but you can receive as well via email. You can have it available for other applications that can be sent to your organization via other channels, so that you can immediately use the content when you need. And you don't have to think about strange things. You have to learn vendor languages, API for public sources. You don't have to consult or open different webs area to get a look at the data you need. If you obviously have your contract with your vendors, and if you can, obviously we can download for you the free sources, you can have it all available immediately and you can save a lot of time. And for sure, sometimes, because there is total control of what you do, you know exactly who is doing what kind of application is getting the data, from where it is coming, the data that they are using. And so you can also calculate the consumption. You can analyze your, if obviously this data represent a cost for the organization, what is the real cost of usage of data for each single passage, for each single interaction in your world. And that's on our idea was a real way to be practical and lets you tackle with your data needs without having big project every time to put in your organization to enter have a new data coming in or to change your data portfolio mix. And specifically for the regulation, because every time there is a new one, I'm not talking about obviously the USA as well that we cover. We don't have at the moment the Asian one, but Europe and USA are totally covered by our solution in terms of type market data you need to get. Then obviously the other part of the game is your own data. We don't provide it to you. You have already at your home. And this is, on our point of view, is a way also to be in total control of what you are doing and what you're spending, what you are reporting. Because at the beginning of this new age, we can say that is 2018 or 2018, a lot of our clients say, oh, okay, this is a new game as it was before MiFID. Oh, no watchdog will call me. The experience was instead that there was a lot of question coming from the watchdogs. And this is day by day increasing in terms of pressure versus the client in order to oblige their obligation and to do it in the right way. Obviously, if you can do it spending, like an example, 100, then spending 2 million makes the difference in your organization. And if you can afford doing it in time with the deadline you have for the regulation changes, etc., will avoid you then to come back and look at what was missing when starting the new regulation deadlines. I hope I've not bored you about all this kind of crazy stuff. To give you an idea of artificial intelligence, because this is the topic seems around, are you using artificial intelligence in MDH? We can say we're testing artificial intelligence, but still looking at what are the advantage we can offer to our client. And the real advantage is if a client has MDH and we got flows of data they need, we can be able, with artificial intelligence, in 3 months' time, to shorten the list of notices that they receive from vendor about what will change tomorrow, what will change in 3 months' time, etc. Selecting what effectively are relevant for the universe they're using in terms of data. Because I don't know if you receive this kind of notices by the vendor and the exchanges as well. There are every day probably more than 1,000 if you have a list, discrete list of vendors. And I cannot think you can really manage it manually, directly. I was stopping doing it by myself as well because it was too crazy to do these kind of things. But you can do it differently using artificial intelligence in the next foreseeable future. So thanks again for your time. It was a pleasure to illustrate to you what we can do with our platform, specifically in the regulation area. Climate, ESG, and other argument will be the topics for our the next effort in the next 6 months' time. We will onboard a lot of independent, really well valued by the market, provider of a specific set of data in this area. They will not the standard MSCI or Sustainalytics or the others, because we are also in this case we have seen that the big are missing relevant information, or they're promising to have relevant information, and at the end they're not delivering. While there are local players that can provide you this kind of data relatively cheap and faster, and with a complete set of information you need. So, thanks to you for your time.